back in the day, there was a legendary VHS tape known as Faces of Death, where it was just a bunch of gore shots. It's like Terrifier, but without a plot, basically.
Yeah, but people thought it was real.
But people thought it was real, so people thought it was cool. And for some reason, 30 years later, 40, 50 years later, they decided they would make a narrative film remake, sequel, inspired by, I guess I don't really know what the fuck this is, kinda, it's something.
It's like an
entirely different genre. It's like Scream, sort of, but not really sometimes. It's internet bad.
So Scream.
So they wanted it to be Scream. So Aiden, what's the plot of Faces of Death, parentheses 2026 edition?
The fat chick from Euphoria is a Reddit janny whose job is to look at flagged content and make sure it's not bad. And she finds out about a serial killer operating on the fake TikTok, which is called Kino, which is really funny to me. And then she posts on Reddit a whole bunch and figures out where the serial killer is and gets kidnapped. And then the serial killer calls her a cuck, and then she stabs him. And also the serial killer was inspired by Faces of Death to make Faces of Death.
But real life.
In real life. And Faces of Death is a movie, so this is like a weird meta sequel that really wants to be Scream, but sucks. So Connor, what'd you think of Faces of Death?
Faces of Death was a strange movie. It was, I mean, I don't know, pretty much the whole, I didn't really know what the concept was. I saw a bunch of trailers for this, like on my girlfriend's TikTok or something. She was showing me the daily cat videos she saved.
TikTok horror.
And I decided to watch it, and it pretty much is that like TikTok horror. What if we modernized Faces of Death, because Faces of Death was like viral because people thought it was scary. So what if we like did that for the internet and it got them views on the TikTok because we're too obsessed with the TikTok these days. That's what the movie is, really. Our lead kind of seems like a dumbass from the get-go, because her origin story is like her and her sister were TikTok dancing on a train track, and then her sister got hit by a train, so then she's became so inspired by this that she became a TikTok janny who would watch videos and decide if they could stay on the platform or not. She became a moderator to change her life.
A professional janny.
But then a professional incel, the Red Ranger from Power Rangers 2017, is the killer, remaking Faces of Death for some reason. A movie that I really can't imagine a lot of people really know about these days. It's not incredibly socially relevant, but then he did like the Scream thing where he's like, meta sequels and reboots are the only thing that sells, so I was doing the meta remake reboot.
Yeah,
just like the movie.
You cuck.
It's like, okay.
Crazy.
Alright, dude. And he's like, the remake goes into the algorithm. It's like,
the most
how is it? What
part
is it? No one knows it's a remake. She was some sort of scientific genius because she cracked it because her friend or whatever knows that about Faces of Death because he's a horror fan or something. So he says that's just like my VHS tape, horror Faces of Death. Actually, I think she got led on. She got clued in because she was posting on Reddit about it, and she's like, "This is a real snuff film." And then the weird thing is, she has a lot of real. So the first like 2/3 of the movie, she's kind of just dicking around in one story, and the guy who looks kind of like Jared Leto, the Red Power Ranger, is running around like kidnapping people to die in the Faces of Death.
Yeah, and they gave him a bunch of eccentric serial killer tics where he like clacks his teeth really annoyingly.
And her arc is like, I need to stop him from killing people. Is he killing people? Then she determines yes. But then she's like, I'm gonna track him down and we'll stop him. And then her only friend guy gets killed because Faces a Deathman just decides for some reason that he's gonna kidnap her because he knows that her sister was hit by a train. And
Well, he figures out that
she
he
wants
was
to be.
she was onto him,
She needs to be.
and sends
no,
her an IP grabber, and she
no.
falls for the IP grabber.
Well, yeah. There's that.
And then he figures out
But
that she was the
he
train girl.
wanted her to.
He wanted her to join him, like.
But everyone
Luke
else,
Skywalker.
the serial killers, like everyone is like famous on some sort of media. So there's like a newsman, and a TikTok girl, and newsman's son, and etc. And I'm trying to determine what the arcs are here. So she's like, the only way I can get over my sister getting hit by a train because I was being a fucking dumbass. We were being fucking dumbasses. And everyone, now I'm famous because my sister died, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're the girl from the funny train video where your sister got fucking obliterated," which doesn't happen in real life. It doesn't happen in real life very often. I can't imagine like watching like I don't know, like I'm with a report. I'm a reporter, and the other CNN reporter gets beheaded by ISIS, but I survived, and they're like, this guy goes next. But then I don't know, the Marines come in and save me. I couldn't imagine people being like, wasn't it funny when your coworker got beheaded by fucking ISIS, Which are like most of what I think you would consider snuff movies on the internet. It's ISIS videos and shit.
And there's also lots of Chinese construction accidents.
There are a lot of those. Really just any construction accident, car crash videos, but I couldn't imagine.
Very large.
I mean, people are gonna watch. Some motherfuckers gonna watch the. Some motherfuckers gonna watch the crazy ISIS beheading video and think it's funny, but it's like the taxi people. People see her on the street, they're like, "You're like famous because your sister was smoked by a train and fucking obliterated," and everyone's watched the video. Also, I don't feel like a lot of people. I feel like when I was a kid, people were watching those videos, and I'm sure people still do.
LiveLeak hasn't existed for 10 years.
Well, that's kind of the thing, and TikTok doesn't really have that. You might be able to see some blurred out news footage sometimes or something, but not unedited.
TikTok is 90% underage girls twerking and 10% cat videos.
Yeah, well, there's a lot. I feel like a lot of the twerking got banned, which is probably a problem for people. You can dig for it, I'm sure, still, but I don't think the twerking. I don't think the twerking hits the algorithm as much because they didn't want to be known as the creepy pedophile app anymore. So 90% of it's SNL skits at home, and the other 10% are funny cat videos. Oh, and old people. There's a lot of videos of old people doing dumb shit, but.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure if I if my girlfriend trained her TikTok algorithm to be a bunch of 14-year-old girls twerking, I guess you could probably make that happen. It wouldn't shock me. But regardless of that fact, it seemed unrealistic. But she's her story arc really is that she's gonna be such a good moderator and do her job with such sincerity that she stops this serial killer. And it's just fucking dumb. I don't know what to say. The roommate dies, and then he's dead, and it's never mentioned again. And she gets fired from her job, and her dickbag boss friend, who's I got you this job because we're friends and stuff. And I thought it would, for some reason, watching the gore videos and being the ultimate moderator was gonna get over the fact that your sister was hit by a train. And you think he's gonna get his just desserts or be proved wrong, or even the cops that are we don't believe you, and then 3 more people are murdered. But the movie just kind of unceremoniously ends. This movie brings up a lot of plot points that are this is corridor arc, blah blah blah, arc moment, and then none of it's ever addressed again. It just ends the second the killer dies, which is somewhat a problem with any horror movie, really, because that's kind of the format. Killer's dead, there's nothing else to see here, let's fucking end it. But I don't know, this movie kept proposing different story arcs for our character, and ultimately they're just never paid off.
No.
And also the fucking, how sometimes they'll bring an object into a movie, it's really obviously going to be important. So in the first scene, her friend's
this lipstick with a knife embedded in it.
Lipstick knife. And she uses it, and it becomes an important object once when she's breaking out. And you're like, you know, if I was a casual movie watcher, maybe more casual, I'd forget about it and be like, okay, you know, oh, that was clever, the lipstick when she breaks out. But then later she's like, oh, it's just my lipstick, Mr. Machine Gun Man, don't worry, it's just my lipstick. And he's like, I guess you can have my lipstick back, lesbian lady who doesn't wear lipstick. Self-professed lesbian lady who doesn't wear lipstick. At least if not this like cherry red lipstick. Why does she need this? Is this the only belonging she's bringing with her? It actually makes literally no fucking sense. But then you're like, well, okay, so she's gonna, and then she's also like huffing Narcan on the way in. So you're like, okay,
at the
he's
start
gonna
of the
try
movie,
to drug her with the fentanyl. Then
at the start of the movie, she was watching the TikToks, and there's one where someone's like, here's how you use Narcan just in case you ever get drugged by a serial killer and need to stab him with your lipstick knife.
Pretty much.
And then she does that. And it's like, wow, full circle.
I mean, the ending was kind of predictable, but they set up two important objects in the movie, and the lipstick knife proved to be the most important thing. I don't know. The screenplay pretty much was like, okay, so what you have here is this lady's a ginormous dipshit, and she's trying to solve this conspiracy by crying while she types shit into Reddit, and then she's traumatized, but she's literally a fucking TikTok janny by trade. So I wasn't super endeared to the main character. And then the only other character, so she had someone to talk to until she came up to the serial killer, was her friend. And then her friend just kind of unceremoniously dies off screen. And yeah,
her
this
friend
movie's
doesn't
called...
even do anything. But
he's like someone to bounce exposition off of, and she's like,
yeah,
my best friend, whatever, fucking Howard or whatever. And he's like, go off, bitch, or whatever, and then he just kind of unceremoniously
Faces of Death
does.
is a really cool movie, and then he dies.
Because like she's trying really hard to save these two people. One guy she doesn't know, and two social media lady who somehow knows who she is too, and they keep saying back and forth. Wouldn't it have been more like dramatically tense if her friend was the hostage in the basement instead of news reporters, random son, and random TikTok lady she's never met before? Like, you could have done something to add some tension.
Also, she directly got her friend killed by clicking on that IP grabber link like a fucking idiot.
No, on his computer too, and he's like, I'm not comfortable with this, and she's like, shut the fuck up, I'm the best TikTok janny of all time. And then she got her friend killed. And
no guilt about that one though, just about her sister getting mauled by a train.
She's just getting everyone killed because she's a fucking dumbass, basically. And then ultimately she saves no one. She doesn't even save the TikTok girl or the other guy. She manages to eventually murder the Red Power Ranger.
She saves some hypothetical future person that we don't see.
I suppose.
She doesn't even save herself. She could have just left after he let her go. So the only person she saved was some hypothetical person.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like a weird movie. There's a lot that just isn't very well thought out. And like Faces of Death, the whole point is like, here's some gore. Look at this simulated gore. Like, we're gonna whatever. And that's what drew people in. There's not really a story. There's like a wraparound. And then like this movie's like, we're gonna make a story to Faces of Death, okay, but then we're also just gonna remove all gore from the movie. So a lot of the times it'll be like, look what I did to her, and then it's like her head's chopped off with some fake blood under it, and it's stapled to a mannequin or something, and it's like, I don't know, if you're gonna do a movie about being like some edgy gore fest, I'd expect you to do some like Terrifier kills at least or something. And I think Terrifier's kills are indulgent and annoying, but the whole point of fucking Faces of Death is that it's indulgent and annoying. So give the people what they want, not whatever the fuck this shit was, is my humble opinion. So Aiden, what did you think of Faces of Death?
No, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. It's weird. The whole concept is just outright bad. I don't have sympathy for the internet Janny and her r/mysteries posts. I don't really have. We don't. None of the other characters are characters. They're just people who get kidnapped and killed. Red Power Ranger out here trying his best. You know, he came up with a bunch of annoying tics for his characters, like clattering his teeth and etc.
I think the Red Power Ranger was my favorite character in the movie because he at least this man cared. This man cared. He's like, this is my first job since the Power Rangers failure, and I'm gonna take it deadly fucking serious, even though it's a fucking Shudder original.
Hey, he was like the 27th most important character on Stranger Things as well.
Oh, was he really?
Which meant he got to be at the kids
So was he
coming
like
out
the
scene.
first guy that technically broke out of? Oh, so this is Stranger Things B character meets Euphoria B character.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize that. I didn't know either of the. Well, I knew this guy is Red Power Ranger. That's kind of interesting though, because he must have been like the first kid to kind of break out of Stranger Things.
I guess so.
Because the Power Rangers was 2017. That was pretty early in the Stranger Things' run. Millie Bobby Brown.
Well, he wasn't on Stranger Things until after he was on Power Rangers.
Oh, okay.
He like reverse broke out.
So he broke down. He failed as the lead of Power Rangers multi-movie franchise, and
I really like there's a bizarre scene where the Red Power Ranger starts trying to shoot the TikTok lady in his residential neighborhood by firing a high-powered rifle at her 9 times, and none of his neighbors report this.
well, then there's a ceasefire for about 5 or 10 minutes while he jingles around trying to find the main woman, and then she starts running. He also shoots at her, and then she's like beat to high hell, and then she comes back with the cops, and somehow the man gaslights the cops into not believing him.
Yeah, very easily. Not
Because
his
his plan, like a Tom and Jerry character, is to be like, she's trespassing, she's a crazy person. I feel like at that point, maybe the fact that you're like reporting like a 25 homicide and this guy looks sketchy as hell and she's beat to all shit, maybe just get a fucking warrant or something at that point, or at least ask to look around.
You'd think so.
And if he's acting suspect, then just get a fucking warrant. See, that's what I feel like.
Yeah, but then at the end of the
Even
shooting
the dumbest
scene,
cop would probably surmise that.
he tries to shoot the Reddit Janny, and he somehow misses, and then he looks directly into the camera and gives a really weird scream. So I thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, I think the
I don't know what that was
implication is
about.
that he ran out of bullets because he like had her in the crosshairs, and then he puts it down and screams, but like they forgot the Foley. That was like a click of it being out of ammo or something, which I think would have made it more clear what was going on. But instead he like gets her in the crosshairs, and then he like looks up from the scope and just starts screeching for some reason, which also wasn't super subtle because then our main character runs through like a fucking light brush, and there's a children's playground, and she's scaring all the kids.
Yeah.
So you're saying in earshot of a park, this guy could shoot 15 fucking rounds from a high-powered rifle?
Yeah.
And also the woman's like screaming in agony, and she gets shot through, the TikTok lady, and
Yeah.
nobody's... Yeah, I don't know.
Out in broad daylight, too.
I mean, the thing is, the movie's not like the worst thing I've ever seen. It's like somewhat fine occasionally, but it's just like also really stupid.
It's really stupid. On the more positive ends, whoever did the music for this movie was just like, I'm gonna do the John Carpenter thing and just get a synthesizer and press random buttons on it, so I kinda liked that.
The cinematography was also fine for like a $20 million fucking theatrical Shudder movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I liked the end song, which was somebody fucking around on the synthesizer and playing techno and music, and then they were cutting in faces of death quotes, original movie dialogue before hitting the fucking drops. It's pretty crazy.
It was something. Connor, would you recommend Faces of Death?
Probably not. You know, it has been a while. And by the fact that our drunk views went from like somehow January and February we were rocking out like 2 videos a week for Drunkview, and like these last couple of months it's been really slow. And I feel like this was the first thing that like made me halfway willing to break the seal and get back into it, but I mean, there's a lot of shit coming out in the next couple of weeks, and I mean, if you want to hibernate your movie watching for one more week, I don't think it matters. If you want to see like a really kind of subpar, like fucking kind of slasher movie, TikTok, it's probably the best of the screen to life genre. I would call it a screen to life adjacent. Probably on the better end of that.
It's like a screen life movie that vaguely resembles a real movie.
It's like 20% screen life, and like, I mean, it isn't literally screen life, but it's like over the shoulder shots of her typing on Reddit, then a shot of the computer. At least it isn't a thing where for some reason she has iPhoto open in the corner and she's on Reddit being like, Reddit, what's the... Or Ice Cube dictating to Alexa, and he's like, Alexa, what's going on with the goddamn... what's going on with the goddamn aliens?
Yeah.
Or whatever. So it isn't, you know, I mean... No, probably not. But, you know, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, I'll give it that. It's just pretty stupid, mostly. Aiden, would you recommend Faces of Death?
No. I mean, it's kind of funny in a weird way, but it's not like that funny. And it's also, like, the concept is really funny, but the movie's not funny enough to see it for the funny concept.
You know who could have made this movie, and it would have been the best movie of all time? James Wan.
True.
James Wan.
James Wan would have fucking killed this.
Jamothy Wan.
But this isn't a James Wan movie. It's not nearly that fun.
No. James Wan, director of Saw, Malignant, and Aquaman.